I'm Teresa.
Hi, I'm Hawk, and welcome. Hi, everybody. Can you hear us?
Hey. We are clearly a little out of practice, but it's
Th-
been a while.
3 months
Oh,
out of
oh my
practice.
goodness.
Thank you guys for hanging in with us while we basically disappeared off
Yeah.
of YouTube for 3 months. But we have reasons, and we're going to tell you all about it.
Yeah, we were really excited to be back. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for sticking with us. The last time we were live was from Casey Maker Studio in Kansas City, and weirdly, we've been back at least once since then,
Twice
maybe
back to
twice.
Missouri since then. Yeah. So
So we've had a lot. It's been great. It's great to be back. So we have a bunch of things that we kind of want to go over with you guys, just catch up just a little bit, let you know what's coming up this fall, and then we're gonna get back into the swing of it. So as you know, we moved to Portland the end of March.
oh
Yes,
gosh.
the end
Okay.
of March. We moved to Portland at the end of March because we did the crazy thing with Casey Maker, and then we went up and we taught at So Hungry Hippie, and then I think we came back home. I packed some orders. We went and moved. We came back up to Portland. Then we took off again. Then we went to H&H. That's right.
Oh, I mean,
Was there something else?
yeah, Nebraska Quilt Company, or I'm sorry, I'm not Nebraska Quilt Company. Sorry, New England Quilt
Oh,
Expo,
right, in
where
April.
we were the keynote speakers. So at Hi Northeast, nice to see you. It was.
It was.
Thank you for the hospitality. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Thanks,
New England.
Liz. Thanks, Bits and Pieces.
Yeah, that's who sponsored the show is Bits and Pieces, which we had been to like 4 years ago. They were on our little RV tour when we did Sew Together Tuesday in the quilt shops, and they were our stop in New England. So they're in Pelham, New Hampshire is where they're at. It's just right across the border from Massachusetts, and it's a great shop. So if you are a Cuddle fan, you have to check them out. They are you can find them on the internet. They sell tons and tons of Cuddle that way. You can also find them at their shop if you're local to them. It's very much worth seeing. But they had invited us out to be the keynote speakers. And then I taught a couple of quilt coat classes. I think maybe just one. No, I taught two quilt coat classes, and some paper piecing classes and a self binding blanket class. It was very fun. Yes, and then we came back, and then we went to H&H.
Right. We came back to Portland. We flew back to Portland, and then we drove to Chicago with our booth, our first booth ever at a convention. So that was great. We had a cute little booth, very much in our budget,
Yes.
and we had a really great experience there. That quilt or that expo is specifically about all things fiber arts, whether that's weaving
Mhm.
or knitting or crocheting
Yep.
or
Embroidery.
any of those things. And it was specifically a business to business. So we spent a lot of time talking to quilt shops and other folks retailers that were looking for new products.
Mhm.
So that was what that was. Next year we're going back again, and H&H is going to have a consumer event
Yes.
as well, and we're going to be at that. So what month is that?
It is still May, so I think
May of 2026,
Yep.
somewhere in there, not off the top of my head. There's a week where you're gonna want to go to Chicago and see some stuff, including us.
Yeah, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of May, so it's like I think it's the first weekend in May. I think is the Fiber and Craft Festival. I think is what they're calling it, and it's H&H has been around now for I think this is their third or fourth year. I think maybe
In the United States.
In the United States, they've done it in Cologne, Germany, for many years, and a lot of people were asking could we get a consumer show? Can I go? Can I go? And so they introduced this year, they announced that next year they're going to have one. So they'll have the consumer show, and then we'll also still have that business to business one afterward, which is great because we had a great time meeting new shops. And so a bunch of new shops carry my patterns, which is awesome. And we got a whole bunch of new teaching gigs off of that, it was great. But we'll be there next year. So put it on your calendar for the beginning of May. You can find that information out there too. Sorry, I should have gotten a link for it. But it's the Fiber and Craft Festival put on by HH Americas. And it's going to be a great show. So I'm really excited about it. Lots of great vendors, and it's really nice because it's in Chicago, so it's kind of central for a lot of people. You'll notice we spend a lot of time in the Midwest because it's central for a lot of people. So there's that.
There's that.
So yeah, put that on your calendar for the beginning of May of next year. So after H&H, we came back, and then
we drove all the way
we
back.
drove there.
You flew back. I drove back.
Yes,
right.
That's right.
And then what was after that?
I think
prepping for the retreat.
I think it was just the retreat was after that. So then we did the retreat, and the retreat was this last month. And I have to say, so we made a little picture show for you guys, because this was just, we kind of like combined a little bit of vacation with the events. We went out there to Missouri for not just a retreat, but I went out there and I taught at the Missouri Star Academy. Then we went to the Quilt Festival, and then I taught at Casey Maker, and then we had the retreat. So on either end of those, we got lots of sightseeing, and we wanted to share some of that. So should we?
We were also at MSQC. We were also for the Academy.
Yeah,
right.
Missouri Star Academy.
Missouri Star Academy. We were also at the Kansas City Quilt Festival. Sorry if you said all that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm processing in the background. Anyway, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Gloria, it's nice to see you too. And we missed everybody out there in the world. So thanks everybody for your warm welcome back comments.
Oh, Bobby, it's good to see you again. Thanks for saying hi at BU. It was really fun. So I just got back from Bernina University, which was my first time there. And that was very fun to see people that I hadn't seen in a long time. And it's always great to see shop owners. I just absolutely love it. It's kind of my favorite thing. So let's show a little bit about what we did this summer, even though summer's just starting.
Okay, so we're gonna start with all of this travel and all this teaching and stuff. Normal people just get on airplanes and fly. I've put 30,000 miles on the Jeep this year so far.
Yeah,
and we are not done.
And it's true.
And I'll tell you, this last time when we were both on our way back, we decided to do something a little different. On your mapping program on your cell phone, one of the things you could do is check avoid highways. And we drove from Missouri to Portland, Oregon, avoiding highways.
And this doesn't mean avoiding any sort of highway, because we ended up on Highway 26. But it does keep you off of the main ones. And we've done Highway 70 and Highway 80 and Highway 90 several times.
A bunch.
70 a dozen times. So we were like, we just want to stay off the main roads. Let's see what we can find otherwise. And it kind of led us to some fun things.
All right, here we go. So we're going to do a little vacation slideshow. Bear with us.
What we did this summer. Before summer. So we left Portland and we got out to Coeur d'Alene the first night, and we slept out there at a state park. So all of these pictures are mine, just, but Hawke thought this one was.
I was like, why is there stock footage in here? Why is there a stock image in here? We didn't take this.
Yeah.
Apparently Teresa has been actively becoming an amazing photographer out the side window of the Jeep.
Yes. So we stayed in Coeur d'Alene at the state park there, which was absolutely beautiful. And it was really wonderful to get up to a different area that we've seen before. And it was beautiful. And the weather was perfect. So we camped a lot. So we camped there that night at the state park.
That was great.
Mm-hmm. And then we went to, go ahead.
So this is Anaconda, Montana. And I saw this the first time on sort of a hit and run where I was driving west to east. And I was like, what is that thing up on the mountain? I don't know what that is. And I didn't really have time to stop. So we did a little research, and on the way east to west this time, we decided that we had a minute to check it out. So this is this town had a huge smelting facility.
Huge. It had a huge boom.
This entire hill at one point was covered in factories, and the whole town came up around it because of the railroad as well. This smokestack was at some point scheduled to be torn down, and there was a rally around that idea, and everybody decided that they should keep it. It is the tallest brick structure in North America at 585 feet. Plus, it's sitting on top of this mountain, and it is absolutely incredible. It's taller than the Washington Monument. It's taller than the Eiffel Tower. It's taller than the Statue of Liberty.
So it's kind of hard to tell scale there, but it is ginormous. Let's just say it is ginormous.
You don't get to get super close to it, but you don't really need to. And they have a bunch of really nice, informative plaques. It's a state park as well. So
it was very cool, and it is kind of bleak now. So it's bleak, and it is, and you can see how the town really it blossomed at one point, and then the industry changed, and everything kind of went away. Yeah,
it's true. And now it's, tourist or nothing.
Right. It's a drive-by.
We stopped at the little Bighorn National Monument in Montana, which is, it's not Montana, is it? It's not in Montana.
I thought it was on the map. Maybe it wasn't.
Okay, sorry. Custer's Last Stand. Amazing big open grassy fields and these beautiful little ravines they call coulees, and it has a tragic history. Isn't it funny how Custer lost, and even the county is named after him? I find that fascinating.
Yeah, lots of things named after him.
So when you go out to visit Custer's Last Stand, this area, you'll find they have a cemetery with all the military markers of the 200 plus men who died, American soldiers who died, but there are also countless Native Americans that died in this conflict. And when you start taking the road out onto the battlefield, they've actually placed these headstones also where soldiers were known to have fallen.
Yes.
And then there are also separate markers where the indigenous folks were known to have fallen as well.
Right.
So this was a very sobering and also a little bleak experience for us. It was incredibly windy up there, and as it turns out, when we visited in June, it was actually the same time of year that the conflict happened.
Yeah, we were like really a week off.
Helped us see it maybe the way it happened a little more.
Yeah, I will say this was a really informational one. I don't know a lot about Civil War history. This is Civil War still?
No,
it's
pioneer
stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know a lot about, obviously, the war history of America. It's just not something, growing up in the Northwest, it's not something that we really ever dealt with here. We talked a lot about the Oregon Trail, which we'll get to. And so this was a really informational one for me. And I really liked how much they had like little stops there that you could read and you could see, and having those little gravestones out there, it's very poignant because you can kind of imagine how this happened. And that, yeah, they lost pretty badly on that one. Yeah.
Yes, it's in Montana. Won. Thanks, Mary. I don't know why I glitched.
Thank you.
I was thinking it was someplace else. Teresa's banners are correct.
Thank you. I was like, I hope somebody looks it up.
She did the research.
All right. From there, this is just barn picture, because you'll notice I take barn pictures. I threw a few in here that I have taken. I have taken hundreds of barn pictures. They're my favorite. So we'll see a few of them. All right. Then we found ourselves in Bella Fourche. Where?
South Dakota.
South Dakota. Thank you. And we had been there once before. We went there once when we were on our big road trip in the RV, and we ended up not being able to go because this was still like kind of when COVID was still pretty big. Like there was, the vaccines were out, but it was still a little intimidating. And when we got there, there was like a huge party, and there were just like hundreds of people at the center. We were like,
the town was throwing some sort of outdoor picnic for itself, and that looked great. And we didn't feel like we needed to intrude on their bubble.
So we came back a few years later, and we had the place all to ourselves, which was pretty amazing.
The geographic center of the United States. Now, there are 3 different versions of this, right?
Right. So this is the geographical center of the United States if you include Alaska and Hawaii. So if you're just using the contiguous United States, that center is in Lebanon, Kansas, which we also drove through this time. And Rugby, North Dakota is the center of North America. So if you look at a map and you look for the geographical center, you will find 3 of them, and it's because they use slightly different measurements for them. So we've been to all 3 of them now.
Arizona also claims to have the center of the universe, yes. Which we know about and haven't visited yet. But that's just funny.
Yeah.
And then you got to see Mount Rushmore for the first time.
I got a bucket list. I got a bucket list item, and that makes me super happy. So I have wanted to see Mount Rushmore for a long time. And when we were on the road trip, we had to drive right by because it was too far away from the freeway that we were on. And so it's just been on the list ever since. And it was absolutely amazing. Like the amount of work that went into that by people climbing up the mountain to, whack these things out with, chisel and hammer and some explosives. It's kind of mind blowing when you think, there's a lot of work that goes into a quilt. I'm thinking like, there's a lot of work that goes there. It was really, really amazing. And one of the things that I found fascinating is how much had changed from the original idea that he had. And I feel like this is kind of like a maker thing. It's like we have an idea of this is what it's going to look like. And by the time it gets to the end, it doesn't really look like that anymore because things had to change. And the same thing happened to him. He ended up having to move. Jefferson used to be on the other side of Washington, but then the rock was too crumbly. And so they had to like actually like blow the part off that they'd already made. So it goes back a little bit further. They moved Jefferson to the other side. They twisted Washington's shoulder so he didn't look so austere. Roosevelt is shoved back into the corner, which I'd always wondered about. And it's because the rock was too crumbly there. It was the wrong kind of rock. And so they actually had to like just keep taking rock out until they got to the point that they could actually carve his face, which is why he's tucked back there. And then Lincoln is over on the right, and they were saying that his hair is still unruly because they couldn't get the rock to actually chip up without cracking apart. So it was very, very interesting. I had a few people say that they were not impressed by the size of it because it was smaller than they thought. I would say 60 feet is huge, and it's way up on a mountain. So
that's to say that each face is 60
feet tall.
Yeah.
Like it's
a 6-story building.
Yeah, so they are big. It's just you have to be really far away to see it. But anyway, I was super impressed. Beautiful, lovely. The place outside, what would you call that? Like they have
the grounds, I guess.
Yeah, they have the grounds, but they have like an outside stadium sort of thing that they do presentations at night. So you can go in the evenings. I know Renee was telling me that, I think it was Renee was telling me that she went then. So if you get a chance to go to Mount Rushmore, maybe plan to spend an entire day. We spent, a couple of hours. But I did get to finally knock it off my bucket list, and that was great.
And then right down the street, about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, was Crazy Horse Monument, which doesn't look like we have a picture of the actual monument. But there's not a lot to see there at this point. There's a face and a hand and a hole under the arm through the mountain. That's going to be an ongoing multi-generational project.
Yes.
That sculpture in that mountain is completely in the round and is significantly more ambitious than even Mount Rushmore. Impressive to see what they have in mind. What's this quilt jacket though? Jacket lady.
So I do love my quilt coats. So this was at the museum that was there, and I wanted to show it because it's one of the first ones that I had really seen the piecing close up and known what it was. So this is Seminole patchwork. You can find lots of different books about it and classes and that sort of thing, but it's all done with strip piecing and then trimmed to the right shape or whatever. So you can see like all of the blocks are on point because of the way that they put them together. And lots of rickrack. Lots of rickrack. It was really, the piecing is beautiful. And I just love how patchwork and quilt coats, obviously these have been around for a while. People have been doing it for a long time. And that patchwork kind of crosses all boundaries. So it was really lovely to see it in the Native American world as well.
Bison. So many wild bison that we got to see. And this was, other than maybe Yellowstone, this is the most wild bison I've ever gotten to see at one time.
It was a lot.
And we got to put another national park sticker on the Jeep because we had never been to Wind Caves.
Yep. It was beautiful. So we did the big drive around and it was gorgeous. Lots and lots of bison. And some pretty great views and also very windy. Yeah.
And now, how about some silly?
So this is Carhenge, and you may have heard of it. It's based on Stonehenge, and it is just a fascinating place. It was made by Jim Reinders, and it uses 39 automobiles to kind of replicate the look of Stonehenge. The thing that I found fascinating about this was that they did it as a family reunion, and they had 35 members, I think of his family, that were there together that built this over a period of like a week or two in June of 1987. And they built it, then spray painted everything light gray. So, and they have some more additional stuff on there, but this is the thing to go for. And it's been on my bucket list forever. It just happened to be in the way. And we were like, let's take this little detour. So we did.
Hi, really Mom from Jackson, Ohio. I see you.
Nice.
So one of the things that Teresa and I have always said about our travels, and this sort of a quip, is that we say that we always stop at every giant ball of twine and every silly roadside attraction and piece of Americana. But honestly, we had never actually stopped at the ball of twine to see it.
I think it's still up there, though. It's still up there. We didn't get there yet.
Oh, we didn't. Is that not? It's not the next picture.
Not the next picture.
Uh-oh. That's okay.
Nope,
I'm
that's
out of
okay.
order.
He's out of order, but we do stop at all of these things, including Carhenge. Okay, so we got through Nebraska. This is on the western side of Nebraska, Carhenge is, and then we drove through the sand hills of Nebraska, and that we were like fascinated because we didn't know there were actually sand hills. So there's just a bunch of sand in Nebraska.
They used to be dunes
Yeah.
at some point, and now they've all kind of covered over with prairie grass and stuff. But you can definitely see, especially where the road cuts through, you can see that it's still just sand for miles, and we're following a railroad track, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on.
On and on and on. And we finally got to Kansas City. Well, we got to Hamilton, where I did the Missouri Star Academy, and I got to do 4 lectures about making quilt coats. One of the quilts that's up there, one of the coats that's up there, we'll talk about it later. It's the new sampler coat, which is pretty exciting. But that was really fun to get to talk to people about how to make quilt coats, because everybody seems to want to make them, which is great. And just talking about all the varieties and ways that you can do it was a hoot. And I always have fun.
And a great little history lesson there as well. She got to talk all the way about the very first documented quilt coats were actually medieval gambesons, clothing designs to be padding under your armor.
Yeah.
So whole cloth, very utilitarian. That was a fun conversation.
And old.
Yep.
So then we made our way to the Kansas City Regional Quilt Festival that weekend. It's held in Kansas City every 2 years, so we'll be back in 27. If you are anywhere near that area, you really should go when they come back. It is just a ton of fun. There's a lot of really great vendors. This is our second time there with Casey Maker, and she carved out a little space for us again. The last time I had just launched the coat pattern, and so we kind of got to see, like, is it going to work? Do people want to buy it? They did, so she invited us back, and we got to do it again and have some coats out there and talk to people, and it was bumping the whole time. It was so busy. It was great. So put that on your schedule if you're in the area. It's actually in Overland Park at the convention center there, but Kansas City, Kansas.
One of the top 6 small convention centers in the country. It's a lovely facility.
It was really
super
nice.
Cute.
It was. Okay, and then the next week I went over and taught another coat class over at Casey Maker Studio. The woman on the left, this was her second time in the class. She hadn't been able to finish the first time, so she came back and signed up again, which I thought was really wonderful. And you can see we have a variety of vintage quilts that got cut up, and there's some new fabric. The one that's second from the right, the really bright colored one, she just used 2 layers of fabric to make her coat, which was really fun. The one on the far right is quilted with 2 pieces of fabric with the batting inside. The third one from the right is cantha cloth. The next one over, she saw my coat when I was wearing it at Quilt Festival 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and absolutely loved it, bought the fabric, and has been waiting to have a chance to take a class with me. So she got to finish her own version of the coat that I had worn at Quilt Festival, which was really fun. You never know. You never know.
That was, and satin lined and just like yours, and everything.
It was beautiful. Yep. Yeah, super fun. And then after that, we finally had our maker retreat. We held it at Art Nest Retreat Center in Agency, Missouri. If you have an opportunity to go to a retreat there, totally do it. Casey Maker has one coming up, I think in August, with Matt Couture. And she's going to be doing one up there. And Casey Maker holds them up there, I think 4 times a year she does them. They're really wonderful, and I feel really lucky that we got to do it. So we got to make everybody swag bags. And then we had a lovely little picnic dinner to kind of kick off our summer retreat, because it was the first day of summer when we were there. So we had hot dogs and hamburgers and deviled eggs and salads. And
I got the barbecue for everybody, which pleased me. Get a little grill time in. It was lovely. We had 15 folks there, and we spent 4 days, and I just had a ball talking to everybody.
Yeah. We really had just a great time.
And I got to teach my first 2 classes ever. I have never had aspirations to be a teacher, but I know some things that I thought might be good to share. So I had 2 classes. I did a value for quilters class. So basically a color theory class for quilters, and also a Procreate for quilters class, which is a great program on the iPad. And I got to share some fun techniques that I use to help Teresa and I both with our design process. Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm a great teacher, but I'm learning.
We had a good time. We had a really good discussion about a quilt that I was struggling with, and I think that we kind of got it worked through that, and it was awesome. All right, the next one, it's going to be still the retreat. So one of the things that we did at the retreat, which we'll talk about, we'll do it the next one too, is we invited in some guest educators. So it wasn't just me talking to you the whole time. So we brought in via Zoom and in person, one of them. Was Rena Dearden from Rustic Horseshoe.
Who is in the comments. Hi, Rena.
Hi, Rena. And so she joined us and talked all about her stuffed animals and her process of making them and some tips on how to make them. And then she had given everybody a copy of her Raindrop Ragdoll Bear pattern. So we had a couple people who had bought the kits and they made their little rag dolls while we were there, which was super fun. I feel like it was a great educational moment to find out more about a topic, a style of making that not a lot of people know about. And so it was great to see so many. It's just not the same as looking at a website and seeing the patterns as it is having the designer talk about it. So then we had, on the last day, we had Laura Pyland from Slice of Pie Quilts came and visited us in person.
Which was not as hard as it sounds, considering she lives 20 minutes from the retreat center.
Right. So it was very easy.
That worked out well for everybody.
Very easy. And she brought in her new book called Storybook Quilts and talked all about the quilts that are in that, and then had a bunch of her patterns available for us, which was super fun. Like, it was just really great. I love hearing from designers because there's so much that you'll learn from them. So that was great. The other designer that we had to visit us was Cheryl Kuchek from Paradiso Designs, and I'll show you the bag that she helped us make when we're done with the slideshow. Okay, and this was our little group at the end. We got everybody into a picture. It was super fun. Everybody looks really happy.
Everybody's got smiles and their eyes are all open, and it's amazing.
It was great. And so they're all
Not AI.
A lot of them are holding, you can see Audra's in the front holding her little ragdoll bear there. And then we've got Sherry made hers into a hoodie, her quilt coat into a hoodie, which was super fun, and a variety of other quilt coats. It was really, really fun. And then Eva is holding her bag back there. So we had lots of different projects going on. So people kind of worked on their own projects, and then we had projects that we worked on together if they wanted to. It was wonderful. And Anne's coat, we were talking about that second from the right.
Yep.
Yeah, we're talking about that. It's going to be super cool. It's kind of a Bargelli sort of thing.
It's cheater cloth with all those rainbow stripes on it.
It looks super
beautiful.
Cool. Yeah, it was really fun to see them come together.
I want to say something, but I think I'm out of turn again.
Okay.
She already signed up for the retreat for next year.
She did. Thanks, Anne. Okay, so after the retreat, we got to pack everything up and head out. And we headed out the next morning. And on the way home, we decided this is when we were going to be like, no highways at all. So we took all these back ways. And then meanwhile, while we're driving, I'm searching on the map, trying to find out what's interesting near here. And this was one that I found on the map called Rock City Park. And it's in Minneapolis, Kansas, which did confuse me when I was looking it up yesterday to find out where it was. Minneapolis is a tiny little town in Kansas. But these rocks are super cool. And they're all basically round. So they are called cannonball concretions is what they're called. And there's 200 of them at this park. It was crazy.
I know we all think Kansas is flat, but there are a couple of places in Kansas that'll fool you.
Yeah.
And this is one of them.
And you can see how tall they are. Because like, this is why I included this picture, is because Hawke's like 5'11", 5'10", whatever. Like, these boulders are clearly much taller than him. I think they went up to 14 feet is the widest one, the diameter. Yeah, super cool, very interesting and bizarre considering what our next stop was, which was
there's the ball of twine,
which looks very much like those balls of rock.
Apparently almost spherical was a theme.
Yes. So this is located in Cocker City, Kansas, and it's not really a ball anymore because people add to it. So one of the things that you can do is you can keep adding to this, and they actually sell twine that you can use for it. You have to use a certain kind that they sell there, and you can wrap around it. And that's why it's gotten more and more oval. But it started in 1953. He kept building it in 1973. Then they got it into the Guinness Book of World Records. And it quickly lost its place, but they've just kept building. And so I think that it's the largest community-made ball of twine is how they...
And I tell you what, I just love the ridiculousness of American ingenuity. It is its own destination.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw about this, but do you know why he started it?
No.
So he started this ball of twine because he was like 63 at the time, and he didn't want to take it outside and burn it. So he just started wrapping the extra twine in his barn. Like after he used it, he'd just wrap the extras into this little ball, and then it just got bigger and bigger. And then pretty soon he was like, I'll just keep making it bigger. So he just kept going with it.
And
so it was kind of utilitarian at first, and then it just got out of hand.
And an American institution was born.
Yes, exactly.
Hatched.
More barns, because barns are beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
There's just nothing like, barns across America make me really happy.
I like this one too because it's still active enough to have a real horse.
Mm-hmm.
It's a functional barn. Plenty of them along the road that are picture worthy are obviously, abandoned, and this one not so abandoned.
No, it was beautiful. Yeah. Then we made it to North Platte, Nebraska, which was known in its previous past as being just a kind of wild and crazy little Chicago place with the mob and prostitutes and crime and all sorts of crazy things coming through there. And it's because all of these train stations came through North Platte. And so over time, it has become the world's largest train yard. It is ginormous. I didn't have any stats that I remember from it. Do you remember how wide it was? I feel like at one point it's like,
I think it's 8 miles long or something like that.
And then I think it's like a mile. I think it's from a half mile to a mile and a half across all the tracks. I mean, it's so many tracks. You can only sort of see how many tracks go across this thing. It was fascinating. So there's what would you call like that tower thing?
There's an observation tower where you can go up to 8 stories and get to look out over all of it and watch trains being taken apart and put together and sent on their way. This is a big hub where they can sort of reorganize all of the cars so that you get them going to the right destination, which, that's a lot.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
I've never seen so many engines in one place, and this picture doesn't really do it justice because off to the left of this picture is the engine yard, and there's probably 300 engines over there.
Yeah,
it was fascinating.
And I think we kind of really loved it because we lived next to the train yard in Los Angeles. We lived next to the trains in Kansas City.
It's true.
No trains in St. George.
Nope.
But here we get to hear the train. It's just a few blocks that direction,
Absolutely,
so we get to hear it again.
Yeah, so. I don't think I could. I don't really sleep that well without train noise.
So. We do love them. All right. Then we hit Chimney Rock. So as we're going through Nebraska, we saw Chimney Rock was out there, and this is when we started realizing that we were really on the Oregon Trail. So we were kind of following it a little bit as we went and checking out the history and all of that stuff, which was really fascinating. And Chimney Rock was used by the Mormon pioneers and then the California explorers and all this sort of stuff to get west, because this is obviously a very recognizable landscape piece that you can see popping up there. So this is called Chimney Rock. And just up the road, we had Scotts Bluff, which is a national monument and actually has like a whole tour that you can go up, like I guess a driving tour that you can go up and you can see it from the very top, which we did. And it was definitely a place that pioneers had used as a stopping point.
This wagon is staged.
Yes.
This is Teresa's picture.
There are no pioneers still going by in covered wagons, but they did have this beautiful setup at the front that I thought was very apt for what that place was.
I feel like we should probably switch this picture to black and white.
Yeah. It was really interesting to see too, because there's a whole lot of, I don't know, just an understanding that comes from seeing the land and imagining crossing it on foot. So from there, we headed more west, and I don't remember which river this is, but I just thought it was a beautiful picture.
It's very likely still North Platte.
I think it's still near there.
Platte or the North Platte River. We followed that for a really long time until we hit the Continental Divide, and then we had to switch to the Snake.
Yes, which we will see too.
And right there, the Snake goes through the Grand Teton National Park, and we got to go to Jackson and Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and the Tetons they're my favorite rocks in the United States. I saw these for the first time when I was 7. When my folks took us out west to do a little vacation.
Thanks,
and
Mom.
I remember them fondly, and I've seen them. I think this is probably my 5th time getting to see them in person, and they're amazing.
And I will say that we came in this view is from the east coming west into it, and it was just one of those things where you're coming through the mountains and you take a turn and then all of a sudden they're there, and it's just kind of mind-blowing. It was a much better entrance to the Grand Teton, if you ask me, than coming from the west. But I mean, either way, you still get to the mountains and they're gorgeous. You can
Because
do another
really
one.
from the west, it's actually more from the south. So what you end up with is you end up seeing the whole. And if you come up from say Utah up 89A, you end up seeing it from the short end at first.
Yeah.
So you only see like just the end of the whole line of mountains, and then you come around the corner and you can kind of see down along it. In this case, because we came down. Or came down into the valley from the east, it was all spread out before us all at once.
Yeah. And Jackson Hole is the name of the valley. Jackson is the name of the town. I just learned that in my little research. Yeah, fascinating. Absolutely gorgeous.
And that's the Snake River down there in the front. And
which we then followed.
Right, and which we then followed basically all the way to the coast.
Yep. Yep, more barns.
Is that a barn?
It's a barn. I love barns. I love them. They're everywhere.
She is not subjecting you to all of the amazing barns.
I have a lot
I
of
feel
fun.
like there needs to be a blog post about the barns.
There will be a 10-minute video sometime of just barn pictures.
I love it.
And maybe some desolate houses. Yeah, so then as we came into Casper, Wyoming, there was a crazy storm and we were really hoping to avoid it. We got in a hotel that night because we were afraid of the hail. They were predicting like some massive hail just north of us. And we, you can't always trust exactly what the weatherman says. So anyway, so these are some wind turbines that are near there, and it was just sort of this bleak look there. It was a little ominous for a while as we drove into Casper, which was fun because then that's where we went to the Schlotzky's, which I love, and the huge chair, which if you're on Facebook, you saw it. And we landed on Highway 26 in Idaho.
And again, we're still following the Oregon Trail here.
Yes.
And Idaho is... I mean, we keep using this word bleak, but wow. So we start seeing these big buttes. I don't remember which butte this is. I think it might actually be.
I think it's Big Butte.
I think it's Big Butte, right? And the entire landscape around it is flat as a pancake, and then there's this big lump in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And then right before this, there were the three buttes. I think was right before that. Anyway, lovely. Also, right in this geographical area, and we didn't really know this. Is the Idaho National Laboratories, which is a big nuclear testing facility, and not like blowing up bombs nuclear testing, but actually like building and testing nuclear reactors and reactor styles, and also trying desperately to figure out what to do with all of our spent nuclear fuel and how to recycle that. So there are not a lot of people around there for obvious reasons, and even the people that work there are all being bussed in every day from Twin Falls.
I think so.
Idaho,
that area.
Right?
Yeah.
That area. So we started seeing all of these tour buses, and I'm like, man, that's a lot of tourists. As it turns out, it was actually all of the amazing employees and workers that work at the National Laboratories. So that was a cool thing to learn.
But we didn't pass there's no houses out there. There's nothing. Like nobody lives out there. There's no little towns on that road, nothing.
There aren't two stones on top of each other except for this giant lump on the horizon.
And then we found, go ahead, the Craters of the Moon National Monument, which is, I think it's a couple hours outside of Boise. So if you're in that area, you probably already know about it, but it was super cool. So it is just a huge lava flow from years and years and years ago. And that, but it wasn't like 2 million years ago. It's like
2,500 years
2,500 years ago. So not even that. I mean, it's a long time, but it's not that long. But that was just crazy. Like that place it's so much lava. It was really, really fascinating. So there's a ton of lava. And then there's also cinder cones, which I think I might have put a picture of. Yeah, so this is from atop the cinder cone, and you can see out. And basically, as far as you can see, it's just cinder and lava. It was pretty mind-blowing.
There's a whole crack in the earth there, and you can see all of the volcanoes along that crack. And some of them had liquid lava, and some of them just threw out cinders. Mm-hmm. Some of them were cinder cones. Some of them were spatter cones. Mm-hmm. There were all these amazing. So this is good context for me. I've lived all kinds of places in my adult life, and now I live in the Pacific Northwest, which on a good day, a clear day, I can see 4 volcanoes at one time. have
We like our
lived around
volcanoes here.
active volcanoes, so this is really good for me to know what I'm getting myself into.
What could happen? It's beautiful in its own weird way. And luckily we got there kind of late. We grabbed the very last campsite. There were several cars that came in after us, and I felt bad for them because there was nothing out there to go to. You're just driving to Boise from there. So I was really glad we got this. We got a little morning walk around and got to see a bunch of this. And then we passed the Snake River.
This picture is postcard worthy, Teresa, for sure.
I think it might be painting worthy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just saying.
I've got a backlog.
So the funny thing is that we kind of were following the Snake River at some point, and then we ended up in, just a lot of I don't know, grass covered hills, but like yellow grass covered hills, wheat or something. And you can go ahead. And then we realized that we had kind of missed a turn. So we ended up coming into Oregon in the very, not the very, very southeast corner, but pretty close. So we ended up quite a ways south of where we were supposed to come in. We were supposed to come in about halfway up the state. We came in about an eighth.
There are places in southeast Oregon where your GPS stops working
for hours.
That's how out in the middle of nowhere that is. It doesn't even want to acknowledge the sky.
And it was just sagebrush there for hours and hours and hours. We finally got to Bend and we decided we're just going home. So we did. There's no more pictures. That's it.
Okay.
We ended up in Southeast Oregon. We kept going.
You get to see our sweaty faces.
Because it's warm in here. Hot in here. So anyway, so we made it back to Portland. We got home that late. We got home Thursday night. We got home late Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I left Sunday morning and went to BU. So, but now we're back and I'm really excited because we are going to be here for a couple of months before we have anything to do. So over the next couple of months, I'm going to be working on a bunch of patterns. So I kind of wanted to share a little bit of that with you today and then talk about what events are actually coming up. So one of the patterns that I've been working on for a while. Oh, yeah.
Can I interrupt for just a second?
Yeah.
Probably should have mentioned this at the beginning, but there's more people here now.
Oh.
There's a giveaway at the end of the episode. We're going to pick 3 of you, and we are going to give away $50 off of our retreat.
Yes.
Next year, which we're going to talk about. So that partly is a little out of order, but I wanted to incentivize you to stay. Now that you've sat through our vacation pictures, let's talk about the rest of
other stuff. So other stuff is coming up. So I've been working on this pattern. We have the Dream Team community, which is like an online community that we have. And it's a fabulous group of people who get in there and we talk about sewing and all sorts of stuff. And this last couple of months, I asked them if they would be willing to help me test a new pattern. And that was really, really fun to see how they would put it together. So I made this quilt for, do you want to switch the camera so it's over here?
Oh, I can do that.
So I had made this quilt to show it H&H to see how people would like it. Let me see if I can turn it so we can get kind of a little bit better view of what it really looks like there. And then obviously, unfolds. Okay. So it's a really fun kind of paper piece. It is paper piece block. This part is paper pieced and this part is just regular piecing. And then it's put together in columns. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. So this will be the pattern. This is what you can see it kind of looks like. And this is the version that we showed there. So this pattern, I'm nearly done with it. I'll have that done by the end of the month and it will be available. It'll be my first quilt pattern in a while. So I'm really excited to kind of get back into quilt making. So this one is a new pattern. Like I said, coming out at the end of this month. It's called Lucid. And because it kind of looks like crystals, my daughter Audrey helped me design that a little bit. We worked on it together, figured out colors and all sort of stuff. It was very fun. This is a new pattern also that will be coming out. So this is the elemental coat still. So still my regular quilt coat pattern. This one is with the sampler quilted elements. So if you know how the quilted elements work, like you would create a piece that's the front, you create another piece that's front, you create a piece that's the back, piece that's the sleeve. It's a great way of being able to put a coat together that is exactly how you want it to be. And so this one is done with these simple blocks that we put together. So the way that it'll work is you'll start by building up your half square triangles and then you'll get more and more complicated. So we'll start doing like now I can't remember what this is called. So like this block where you have the 2 and then it becomes a half square triangle, and then we end up having like 9 patches, and we've got a whole bunch of different things in here, churn dashes, and then it goes all the way up to corns and beans, which is a pretty complicated block. But you'll work your way up there a little bit at a time. And it's kind of in coordination with, oh, look how perfectly I lined that up. I love when that happens. It works in coordination with Andover's new program that they're doing with the building blocks. So that was
nice.
That was nice. I like that. Let me show you the back. So I'm sort of excited about this one because it has just so much potential. And this one is made with Libs Elliott fabric, her glaze collection from Andover. And she's got a whole bunch of them that you can see. They have like these little splatters, and then some of them have like kind of like little lines, like paintbrush lines.
Textural, it's grunge-ish.
Like you would use it the same way. Yeah, for sure. I really like it. And these colors turned out absolutely beautiful. Okay, I think that was, the little kid's coat. It's the other thing that's coming. You want to grab it? And I'll put it up here. So this has been something people have asked about for a while, is a little kid's version of the coat. So here we did. Oh, there's a shop calling me about a class. I'll call her back. So this is the kid's coat pattern. Cover is going to look something like this. This is the little 12-month size. So it'll come in both the shorter version, like a hip length version for kids, and a longer version.
I'm going to switch you to the front camera.
Okay, because this one is a little longer, bigger. Okay, so this one is the big kids version, and this will come, I can't remember what sizes they are. They're little kid, big kid, toddler, and then like a bigger kid. I can't remember what it is. I think there's 5 sizes. But it basically goes from like a 12-month size, which is that little one that I showed you, up to I think like a 12 or 14. And at that point, they could start wearing probably the women's sizes in a bit smaller. Okay, so same idea. This one is I really like this one. I made it with railroad denim. So it's got that nice stripe in it, and a fun old print from Robert Kaufman. And then I bound it with the yellow, and I really liked it. Or are you going to put on the...
I'm just going to show you how cute this is. This is what this implies. This. This is what this implies.
So here,
it's going to be so cute.
See? Total cute little mom daughter. Holly did this recently. She hacked her own pattern, which I was super proud of, and made matching coats for her granddaughters. And that was really fun. So you could totally do this. And she took and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Holly, but she took a big quilt that she got like just at the thrift store. I think it was probably a queen size, maybe a little bit bigger. And then she was able to get all the coats out of the one quilt, which was super fun. So she got her coat and 2 other smaller ones, which was great. So all of these patterns are coming out hopefully August, at least Lucid and the kids coat will. And then the sampler quilt one will be coming out probably in September, October. We'll have that one for market. And then we're doing a Hawke's version finally. So we're going to do the Journeyman jacket. So if you've seen him at any of the events, he wears it.
I might wear this every time I'm in public at this point, actually, because I love it and it's cute.
And the quilters love it. They always talk about it. So
and all of my NASA spacey nerdy folks love it because these are all vintage Apollo patches. So anyway, yeah.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you, Diane.
And the fabric. So this is something that people have talked about a lot. They've wanted to know about the fabric. What is it? It is pre-quilted. And it's very interesting, soft, flowy fabric that is really nice for this.
It's gauze, right?
It's a gauze, but I found out, I looked it up finally so I could tell people, because it's merchant and mill, and it's called a jacquard cotton is what it is. And they have it in a few different colors and a few slight variations. Bolt Fabric here in Portland carries it, and I know others do as well. You have to kind of find an apparel store, and they will carry it, but it is really, really lovely. And they have it in like there's like a blue and a green and like an adobe color in that cream.
Oh,
so there's a few different.
And a terracotta.
Yeah,
well.
Terracotta, not adobe. Sorry.
Oh, right. I think actually both.
They might be the same. So really, really pretty colors. I absolutely love them, and it's a very fun fabric to use. I will say it's a bit stretchier because it's kind of gauzy, and so you need to do a little bit of stay stitching if you use that one. Make sure that you're kind of holding your layers together.
I sewed that until I didn't.
Yeah.
And it got away from me.
And
the
then I took
neckline
over.
got away from me, and then she wrangled it back into
It did.
submission.
It's a little bit of steaming, a little bit of clapper action. Yeah, we got it to work. So it was great. Fabulous. So those are the new patterns that are coming out, which that's what I'll be working on like crazy. Holly, now that I'm back in town, we can actually maybe hang out, which will be really fun. So she was saying, I'm glad you're in Portland, but I'm never here. So, but I'm back now, and I'm going to be here for a little while. I'm also planning some classes here in town, but not quite yet. I don't have anything lined up. That's my shop that's coming up next that I have to talk about. So,
Hey, Vicky, nice to see you from
Scotland.
Hi, Vicky. T-shirts, hoodies, all kinds of apparel with that logo are absolutely available at crinkledreams.com.
Yeah.
And we would love to see a picture of you wearing one of those in the Highlands.
Yeah, exactly. Please. Yes, you could definitely find those. Okay, so the first classes that I have coming up after this little hiatus of teaching is going to be the shop that just called is Bittersweet Quilt Shop in Pinconning, Michigan. And so that's going to be at the end of August. I'm going to be doing that one. And I'm excited about that. So that one is in, like I said, Pinconning, Michigan. So it's over kind of on the eastern side. And then I might actually show up over at the other side of the state as well, but we'll see. So we haven't gotten exact dates on her calendar yet, but look for that because I will be there for sure. We just haven't settled on all of that good stuff. All right, the next we're going to be doing the on September 13th. We're going to go ahead and do the Quilt Coat workshop at Past to Present Quilt Shop, which is in St. Clairsville, Ohio. And I taught there earlier this year. And I had a really great time there, and people liked it so much that we just decided we were going to do it again. So we scheduled it again for September 13th. And then the next class is going to be September 19th to the 20th. And that one is going to be at Raybon in Fargo, North Dakota. So I'm in North Dakota in, I don't know, 7 years or something that I've actually like taught there. It's been a long time. So I'm really excited.
Well, since we did the show in Langdon.
Oh, that's right. We did that. So that was like 4 years ago that I was up there. It's been 7 years since I've been to Fargo. So I'm going to stop in Fargo this time, and I'm going to get to teach a class there at Raybon, which is a super great store. And we're going to have 2 days of class there. So make sure that you check out their website. And I think that they're just raybon.com. But if you look up that name, and it's the kind of a different spelling of Raybon, if you look that up, you'll be able to find their store.
And speaking of Langdon, while you're in North Dakota,
we're
going to go see Peggy.
Yeah, so we're going to head north and go see the folks up at So On and So North, which is really at the very top of North Dakota. So Fargo is kind of further south. They're both west, but one is at the north and one is at the south.
I think she's seven miles from Canada.
Something like that. It's very close to Canada. So I'm kind of excited about going back up there, seeing them, and we're doing a Quilt Coat class there on September 22nd, which I think is a Monday. Okay, after that, we've got October 9th and 10th. I'm doing a Quilt Coat lecture, and I'm teaching the puppy dog Pete at Quilt Festival in Houston, Texas. So I know one of the classes sold out already. One of the Quilt Coat classes sold out already, but there is another one. I think it's called apparel sewing for quilt makers, or garment making for quilt makers, or something like that. That I'll be talking. Yeah, it's hard. That I'll be talking all about doing patchwork and how to do all of that good stuff, and how your skills from doing patchwork and quilting actually go right over into making garments. And it isn't the leap that people seem to think it is, and it's really not. It's not difficult. So after that, so we're going to do that. So those signups are still available. It's at quilts.com. Look for festival, and there are still a few that are available. Okay. The 23rd to 25th of October, I'll be at the Quilted Cow in Colorado Springs.
I'm going to let you advance this. I'm going to go look for some winners.
Oh, okay. Go look for some winners. So then I'll be teaching at the Quilted Cow in Colorado Springs. It's a brand new store that's opening up, I think the end of this month. And so I'll be out there in October to teach the Quilt Coat class there. We're going to do 3 days. It's going to be 2 days of Quilt Coat and another day of something else. And I can't remember what I'm teaching there. It might be a cuddle class. It might not. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. It's hard to keep track of all these things. All right. And then the next one, the last one that I'm going to do is November 12th. We're going to do the Quilt Coat Workshop with Orange County Quilt Guild in Huntington Beach, California. And I'm excited about that one, but it is sold out. I know that they're looking to do a second day. So if you're in that area and you want to do it, let the Quilt Guild know. And we're hoping we can maybe add a second day of classes there, because that'll be I think the one time that I've done it in Southern California. Just, yeah, it hasn't happened a lot. So I'm looking forward to going then. It'll start getting to be, kind of wintry here. So I'll be glad to go. I've got a few things scheduled for next year as well, and those are on the website. So if you go to crinkledreams.com and you go up to the calendar at the top, or there's like a little listing for calendar, if you click on that, it'll show you the upcoming things. I need to update it, and that'll be happening this week, but that's a good place to kind of check and see what's coming, what's happening. Am I going to be at a show, or am I going to be anywhere near you? And then we list off all of the lives there as well. So all of that stuff is kind of listed there. Oh, and the maker happy hours that we do for the Dream Team, I also put those in that calendar. So it's kind of a one place for everything, I hope. All right, so that's coming up. What else do we want to talk about? Anything else? We got it's a bunch of stuff coming up, but it's not nearly as much as the beginning of this year. We have really just been all over the place and teaching so many classes. So I'm kind of excited to get back into the actual design work and creating some more new samples for the coats. One of the things we talked about at the retreat is people want some kits for the elemental coat in the denim and stuff like that. So we'll probably be coming up with some more kits as well as for the stuffed animals. So lots of fun stuff coming up. So just keep an eye on us. Okay, you got something?
I think we're basically ready to go. I gotta say, we missed you guys.
Thanks for being here.
We're gonna do this again every month for the next few months for sure, until obviously we run into some sort of a flurry of teaching activity.
I'm trying really hard to just plan one, maybe two things a month, but we're trying to keep the first week clear so we can do these lives and do more educational tutorial stuff. We do have a bunch.
Consistency is hard.
It's really hard, but I think we're going to try. I'm going to try.
We're trying. Here we are.
And next year will be a little bit chiller with that too, but we'll be doing a lot more online education. I'm looking forward to it. So, so make sure that you follow us. If you subscribe to the newsletter, I say that, and I'm not sure that the pop-up is there on Crinkle Dreams, but you can check and see if it is. If not, I need to make sure it's up there. But if you get the newsletter, you'll find out things that are coming up.
It's always the most consistent way to get information, right?
Yeah.
Social media is great. We love it. But also,
it's not everything doesn't get there.
Emails are great.
Yeah. So that's kind of where everything goes, as well as the Dream Team community, which is just $15 a month to be part of that. And then you get to be part of the kind of the inside circle of folks who get to play with patterns with me, get tutorials, all that sort of stuff, and then have maker happy hours where we spend a couple hours just sewing together, which is super fun. So definitely recommend that you join us if you can there. All right, did you put up the winners?
You know what, I was like, why is that not
technology? I tell you, not doing it for 4 months is really it's a lot.
You ready?
Yeah,
right.
Go for it. Okay.
Go.
Today's winners are Patty Grattino,
Kim Myers, and Carcat Rocks.
Nice.
Y'all three, if you want to come to our retreat, you get an extra $50 off. That's what we're doing this time. Yep. So go to crinkledreams.com.
Yep.
And that's where you're going to find under the workshops. That's where you're going to find the retreats.
Yeah.
Now that you know that you've won, please email me at hawke@crinkledreams.com with your at this point,
just your email.
Just an email address would be fine. Yeah.
We'll send you a code.
I'm gonna send you something in the mail, but this time I'm gonna send you a discount code.
Right, exactly. So just so you know, the retreat is $950 and includes all of your housing, your food, and all the education kits and some of the kits, etc. for those days. And we've added this time, we were talking about it'd be nice to stay a couple other days. So we've added 3 additional days onto it that are optional, that you can stay a little bit longer if you want to. And those are for a discounted rate per night that are not as they won't be filled with education and all of that stuff, but you can stay and sew longer if you want to. So should be really fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I had so much fun at this last retreat that we were like, all right, we have to do that again. It was great. So I hope I'll get to see some of you. I've got to meet a few people who have been in the comment section for years, and I finally got to meet Karen. I got to meet Anne, and it was great. So thank you for those of you who joined us there in Missouri. I'm looking forward to seeing more of you in Iowa. But we'll be back next month, beginning of August. I don't know what the date is right now. It'll be the first Wednesday of the month. We will be back with another live. At that point, we should be able to show off our studio. People keep asking, is your studio all set up? And I'm like, we haven't been home. So this month we will be home. We'll get to do some painting, some rearranging, some figuring things out. And I'm really excited about that. Hawke has a painting studio that he might be able to show off. And we'll definitely have a sewing studio and a Crinkle Dreams offices that
long
we can show
arms,
yeah,
all kinds of stuff to talk about. Yes,
all kinds of things. So it'll be really fun. So join us next month. Until then, happy sewing.